Hello, welcome back to the channel Cybersecurity Nation. On our last video, we checked on Kali Linux and how to troubleshoot the network and the full screen mode. In case you haven't watched it yet, just go to the channel and check this video right here so you learn how to troubleshoot Kali Linux, network, and the display screen. So today we're going to be looking at the 5 stages of penetration test. Today we're diving into a topic that is both fascinating and absolutely critical in the world of cybersecurity: penetration testing. If you've ever wondered how ethical hackers find vulnerabilities before the bad guys do, this video is for you. But before we jump into the exciting phases, let me start with the most important rule in penetration testing. Always obtain explicit permission before carrying out any scan or test on a website, machine, or server. Without written consent, you're not an ethical hacker, you're breaking the law. And when you get that permission, stick to the scope. If a company asks you to test server A, you test server A, not server B, not their website, just server A. Clear communication and a well-defined scope are important. If you got this, good. Now, before we start, if you're new to this channel, please like, share, and subscribe for more free ethical hacking tutorials, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out our next essential guide. So now let's break down the 5 essential phases of a professional penetration test. So we start with phase 1, which is information gathering or reconnaissance. In this phase, it is all about getting to know your target. Just like a detective gathering clues, this is called information gathering or reconnaissance. This stage involves passively collecting as much information as possible without directly interacting with the target in a way that could raise alarms. Now, think about what's publicly available. What technologies are they using? Is it WordPress, Apache? Are there any subdomains? What email addresses are publicly listed? Employee names, social media profiles, sometimes even infrastructural details can be found with a bit of searching. Now let's head to phase 2, which is scanning. Once we have a good understanding of our target, we move into scanning. This is where we start interacting with the system more directly, but still primarily to gather data about its live state. The goal here is to identify open ports, services running on those ports, and potential vulnerabilities associated with specific software versions. We are looking for weaknesses in the system's defenses, such as like port scanning, vulnerability scanning. These are some of the things we do in this phase. And then the next phase, phase 3, is gaining access or exploitation. Now, for this phase that often gets the most attention, gaining access or exploitation, this is where we attempt to actively exploit the vulnerabilities were identified in the previous scanning phase to gain unauthorized access to the system. This isn't about breaking things, but about proving that a vulnerability is real and exploitable. We might use frameworks like Metasploit, which has a vast database of exploits, to target a specific vulnerabilities. Now, this phase requires skill, precision, and a deep understanding of how exploits work. Phase 4, maintaining access. Once we've gained initial access, the next important step in a penetration test is maintaining access. Why? Because the real attacker wants to ensure they can come back later, even if the file system is rebooted or patched. As ethical hackers, we need to demonstrate these potential persistence. And in this phase, we look at installing backdoors, rootkits, or other persistent mechanisms. This isn't for malicious intent, but to show the client how an attacker could retain control. This might involve creating new user accounts, modifying system services, or planting web shells. It's about establishing a backdoor that allows for future access, demonstrating the potential long-term impacts of a successful breach. Again, this is all done within agreed upon scope and permissions to highlight the risks. Phase 5, covering tracks. The final technical phase, which is vital for any attacker and thus important for us to simulate, is covering tracks. A smart attacker doesn't want to be detected, so they will try to erase or alter logs, remove any tools they've uploaded, and generally clean up their presence on the system. This involves clearing event logs, company history, and deleting any files or scripts that were used during the exploitation and persistence phases. For a penetration tester, this phase demonstrates how an attacker could attempt to hide their activities, making incident responses and forensics investigations much harder. It's an important step in understanding the full life cycle of a potential attack. And there you have it. 5 core phases of a penetration test: information gathering, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and covering tracks. Each phase builds upon the last, providing a comprehensive approach to identifying and demonstrating security weaknesses. Remember, the ultimate goal of a penetration test is not just to find vulnerabilities, but to provide actionable insights to organizations so they can strengthen their defenses and protect their assets. If you find this guide helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to Cybersecurity Nation, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or what cyber security topics you'd like me to cover next. Now, on the next tutorials, we understand how Linux work, so we can be able to use our terminal for ethical hacking. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.